The Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs has convened a high-level meeting to address the alarming rise in initiation-related deaths this summer. To date, 36 young men's lives have been cut short while undergoing this rite of passage. Eastern Cape is leading the pack in terms of deaths with 20, followed by Free State with 13, Gauteng and Northwest, there. Now, for more on this story, I am joined by COGTA Minister Velenkosini Hlabisa. Minister, thank you so much for your time tonight. It's 2025, Minister. Why are we still seeing young boys dying while undergoing this rite of passage?
Good evening, Malungelo and the viewers of Newzroom Afrika. Indeed, Malungelo, we are very worried that up to now we are still experiencing fatalities on customary initiation. We have escalated our interventions because for the whole year we have been on the ground setting up strategies to ensure that we do not experience such a high number of deaths. It is comforting, although one is too many. Yeah. But in Northwest, we have a record of one initiate who died up to so far. In Gauteng is 2. The warring provinces is Eastern Cape, as you rightly said, is 20, and Free State 13. As a result, on Tuesday, I convened a high-level meeting of ministers, deputy ministers, the premiers, MECs, and senior managers, including the police, as well as the Minister of Justice, to ensure that over the Christmas holiday, because the cause of death of many initiates is negligence, dehydration, and as it is the Christmas holiday, there will be a lot of elements of alcohol.
Okay. Minister, thanks for that. One of the things that you've already alluded to is that the Eastern Cape and the Free State are leading. Why do you think these provinces continue to see, a rise or a high number of deaths in terms of initiates?
Some areas are stubborn in complying with safety measures, like simple one, dehydration. This is a wrong information given to initiates not to drink water. In summer, if you don't drink water for weeks, they go to initiations probably with 4 weeks having not taken water. And immediately on arrival, the 5th or 6th week, they start to complicate and dehydration becomes a major cause of death, which is what we have identified when we look at the postmortems of the cases in Eastern Cape and Free State. I can basically say negligence and non-compliance with what should be done in order to comply with health standards.
Have there, Minister, been any arrests then, if you are saying that one of the things you identified is negligence? Have there been any people that have been arrested as a result of that negligence that has led to the deaths of these young men?
51 cases have been opened and 41 people have arrested, including 2 parents. One thing that we are going to do now, we want to arrest parents now, because parents must take a responsibility of their children. They can't just simply send children to the mountain and never make a follow-up. The reason for the 2 arrests, they falsify the age. The initiates are recorded as 18 years and above. But when you look at a boy, you can see this is a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
And they have been arrested because they are reckless. They are taking a minor to the initiation, which should not be done, because even in terms of the culture, you can't say a 13-year-old is going to graduate from boyhood to manhood. Yeah. That is a child, and we are committing a crime. That is why we have arrested them. And even parents now who do not visit their children to see they are given water, the hygiene is at an acceptable standard. If a parent is found to be negligent of not playing his role, especially males, because females are not allowed to go there, we are going to arrest them now.
Minister, there's also this issue then of illegal initiation schools, right? It's very prevalent across the country. But do you think this is all about exploiting culture for money?
Malungelo, we will share the statistics. What has disappointed us? The majority of boys who died out of 20 died in legal schools. Yeah. What the people did very good in Eastern Cape, they shut down the illegal schools. That was a wonderful work, which I commended them because they took a responsibility. Now, the problem is occurring in legal schools. The next step that we're going to do, we want to see who is a traditional surgeon. Yeah. How qualified is he to conduct the circumcision of the young boys before it gets into complications? And secondly, the principals of the initiation schools. We want now to record who are these people. Yeah. What is the death rate in this initiation school looking at 3 years back? Because if a school is a hotspot, we want to come with a new solution now. That the schools that are hotspots for death, we need to engage parents. That those schools should be shut down even if they are legal schools. If they need help, they must indicate that we have incompetent or unqualified traditional surgeons. But just to conclude this one, Malungen, it is the responsibility of a parent to identify a traditional surgeon. Yeah. Now, that is why we want to place a responsibility to parents that don't take your child to someone you know is not competent to do this culture.
Minister, the Customary Initiation Act of 2021 was introduced to ensure that there are no deaths at all. But do you think parents, do you think communities are aware of why this law is so important and why this law is actually in place?
Yes, Malungelo, they are aware because the structures that are dictated by the Act, they exist, and parents support these structures. As I said, the only area which we need to reinforce is negligence. Every initiation school must have water on site, and there should be a monitoring on daily basis that the initiates do take water, because they won't suffer from dehydration if they drink water. And the hygiene should be at an acceptable level, and alcohol should be inspected on a daily basis, not allowed to be in any initiation school, because the Act can say there shall be no alcohol in the initiation school. But the parents, families, communities whose culture is theirs and whose children are theirs should be in the forefront. As government, we are doing all it takes. Provincial, local mayors, our councillors, but the primary responsibility lies with the parent of a child, who must see to it that when a child is in the initiation school, I take a responsibility daily to go and visit him. The parents who do so, they celebrate their children come back home alive. But in most cases, where a parent is not involved, that is where we are experiencing dehydration challenges and as well as abuse, because a person knows there is no one who is looking after this young boy who is here.
Minister, we often talk about deaths, right? And we should, but there's also those who survive, while going through this rite of passage, but they probably, in some instances, lose their manhood due to abuse or whatever that may have happened, right? What are you saying about that? In government communique about this particular issue of initiation, we don't hear much really about these young men who have lost their manhood while going through this rite of passage.
This is a matter, Malungelo, we raised last year, that we have a huge number of amputations if you combine past years, which is as a result of negligence. An amputation cannot occur in the hands of a competent traditional surgeon. It only occurs in the hands of incompetent chance takers. And that is why we bring the role of a parent, because a parent makes a decision. I want my child to go for the initiation this time around. And he identifies who is going to perform the task. Now, if a parent makes a wrong decision, a parent is irresponsible. That is why now we say we want to hold you accountable together with the person who led the young man into coming back no longer a complete man, because his manhood has been taken away out of a reckless practice by the individual, not the culture. That is also going to be our scope. And people who lost their manhood, those who were responsible are amongst those whom we have opened cases against them, and some have been arrested.
Minister, thank you so much for your time. COGTA Minister Velenkosini Hlabisa there, talking to us really about the issue of initiation.